Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another probably crazy video. I don't know. We'll see where the future takes us. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having, an absolutely incredibly fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So, when I saw these numbers, it was kind of a whoa, what kind of thing. The market's doing great. Absolutely exceptional. And I don't care when or how you're watching this. At the time of me making this video, I haven't even looked at prices. But I know that we are doing so exceptionally well compared to where we've ever been before in this market. The amount of accumulation, these numbers that we're getting are beginning to kind of set me off in many different ways. I am a gigantic advocate for Bitcoin for everyone. And I mean that wholeheartedly. One of my, goals over the last few years has really been to let people understand that the world's economy, the economy we've been given, is not doing as great as we've been told. And that there is an alternative, and that there is an asset, that there is a digital currency that has been doing well and is currently up by millions of percent since its inception. We've gotten, staggering amounts of news from some of the richest people on the planet who have done all that they can and then some to make sure that people don't enter the Bitcoin market, that they don't buy Bitcoin, that they don't like Bitcoin, knowing good and well that these numbers exist. I've seen personally that when we get news that pension funds are buying Bitcoin, most people yawn because they don't care about pension funds or they aren't really looking to retire, and that's a bit of a shame. When we get news about Bitcoin's price, it tends to be the most popular thing. When we get news, and if prices fall a smidge, that also becomes quite popular. So I also hope that this one will as well. My understanding is that numbers really help people. So, for instance, I can flail my arms as many times as I want in a video. I can raise my voice. I can, you name it, across multiple different channels. I have a second one for those of you who are wondering. It's called Money Rules. And I just want people to understand that everything really changed for us in January. The significance is we would have gotten here where we currently are by ourselves, but it would have taken a little bit longer. We are so ahead of schedule that it's actually a little bit scary. When I talk about being an advocate for Bitcoin for everyone, one of my dreams was that hundreds of millions, if not by this point 1 to 2 billion people on the planet would have started accumulating, buying fragments of Bitcoin. I have told my friends and family, this is not financial advice. I tell friends and family I want them to accumulate at least 1 million Satoshis. It is 1% of a Bitcoin, so at least you have something just in case it hits the fan and Bitcoin completely skyrockets into the sky. When we talk about accumulation numbers, as we have been doing for a number of months now, remember I told you, you must remember, and you can even go look back at the videos. That's what? Crazy, right? Yeah, because all the stuff is there. Remember I was saying before, I was like, if these companies continue accumulating Bitcoin the way that they are, me and you would have probably no more than 2 or 3 years maximum before all the Bitcoin that's left to be purchased is gone. The numbers once again are 21 million max Bitcoin. I believe there are more than 19 million Bitcoin that have been mined so far. It is estimated that anywhere from 3 to 6 million Bitcoin are lost and gone forever. These are coins and these wallet addresses that simply are not moving. And then also, it's estimated that I think around 1.5 million Bitcoin are actually up for grabs, but that's also a problem because many problems. The 1.5 million Bitcoin is just the coins that are on crypto exchanges. The problem, if you want to know, has to do with the fact that whale movements and people who have a lot of Bitcoin, they know that they can scare people or manipulate people by literally just putting their coins onto an exchange, lowering the price, and then at some point taking it off. We've been receiving a lot of news the last month or two that huge amounts of Bitcoin, like per day, are leaving crypto exchanges sometimes. So some days it's 7,000 Bitcoin. Some days it's 15,000 Bitcoin. And they're going to 1 or 2 different addresses who are simply moving their coins. So these coins aren't really liquid. They belong to whales who simply have them on there to make it seem as if there's more Bitcoin that's available than there actually is. The other portion is that the people who are actually in the market, who are in the Bitcoin space, who have BTC and have it on a cryptocurrency exchange, well, a lot of these people have no intention of selling. We are currently in the midst of a what if, who then, why not, what did I do kind of scenario. Because if Bitcoin looks like it's going to rise another 10 to 15,000 US dollars in the next couple of weeks, people are going to be hard-pressed to want to sell their Bitcoin when Bitcoin's price could go up by $10,000 to $15,000 in the next couple of weeks. If we are constantly hearing that Bitcoin, remember we were talking about the golden cross in the video. There was an analyst, but the general sentiment is now that this year we are going to see a $150,000 and or a $200,000 Bitcoin. People holding on to their Bitcoins are going to be hard pressed to sell their Bitcoin if Bitcoin does actually double in price this year. Next year, those numbers are also completely insane. And then the other problem is the grand what if is what if these numbers for the next 5.5 years come true and the dips aren't as dippy as they've been before in the past? And what if we do get to $1 million Bitcoin, so saith Jack Dorsey and Novogratz and all the other people in 5.5 years, and people sold their Bitcoin at 70,000 something? People are not too keen on doing that. Therefore, those coins also aren't liquid and are probably not going to be re-entering any type of liquidity into the market for a long time. That's what's going to make these numbers that I'm telling you even more crazier, because it's been happening right in front of our faces. Let's see. January, February, March, April, May, June. 6 months that all of this has been going on. According to recent data, the top 10 spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds, excluding, and we're going to get to it, excluding Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, the other ETFs that we got on the 11th of January are now holding 546.62 Bitcoin. Yeah. So one of my theories around February, I was like, hey guys, this seems a little bit insane. if they are buying this much Bitcoin per day, we will probably have a situation where these companies, before summer, are holding anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million Bitcoin. These companies alone, and part of the data is, these are just a few US Bitcoin ETFs. There are Bitcoin ETFs in other countries who are also buying Bitcoin. Don't know if people know that. Yeah, the significance is, so, remember like where we were getting news that like, hey, $300 million was bought up by BlackRock today, 180 million this week was happening from Fidelity, etc., etc., etc. And I was like, wait a tick. There's also other ETFs around the world. And when we did get news about them, it was only that these companies were acquiring, $13 million. So 13 is lower than 180 million. So of course they didn't make it into popular news. But if you keep buying $10 million worth of Bitcoin every single day, by the end of the month, that's going to be a pretty penny. And that was one country, one company, because then you go over to Europe, and then you go over to Australia, then you go over to Singapore, and then you go over to Hong Kong. Remember that one? Yeah, remember how they're like not in the news, but they're still accumulating a large amount of Bitcoin. We even had, don't forget this, we even had news multiple times that Hong Kong ETFs are daily are accumulating more Bitcoin than is actually even mined. A lot of the news being pushed out there is that while ETF volumes have fallen a smidge compared to where they were before, a handful of companies are still purchasing more Bitcoin than is being created every single day. Those new coins are not entering the market. The people who are mining the coins are only selling what they need to pay for their electricity. The other coins, if they do get purchased or sold, they're bought up by banks. You want to know how we know that news? Because we got that news before in the news that these mega banks are going to the people who are mining Bitcoin and they're buying it from them directly. And then you also have the situation where are these other coins coming from? Yeah. So these ETF issuers are buying Bitcoin over the counter from cryptocurrency exchanges. So you see like that little like dwindling supply that keeps going down on crypto exchanges. The crypto exchanges have their own coins, which are also in the pot of coins available. But that also continues to dwindle. Wait, hold on. We haven't even gotten to the fact that there's 100 million people who are in this market who are also buying fragments of Bitcoin all the time. 10 companies, excluding Grayscale, have purchased 548,556 Bitcoin in 6 months. It says these numbers came from the last 128 days. 128 days to acquire 500,000 Bitcoin. This acquisition means the 10 newly introduced spot Bitcoin ETFs collectively hold 2.78% of the Bitcoin circulating supply. I told you, I said when you hear the numbers, I hope you freak out just like I do, because this is absolutely insane. You can't keep sitting there and pretending that this is not completely crazy, that we keep hearing this news every single day. It's one thing to hear. It's one thing. It is one thing to hear these numbers in a smaller fraction. 35 million here, 118 million there. When you have all the numbers in front of you and you still aren't getting it, bless your heart. I need to teach you how to count, because do you understand how insane this is? That's 128 days. And some of those days, our market was like down. Imagine 256 days. It's less than a year. 256 days. They're going to have over 1 million Bitcoin. Oh boy. Even crazier. Yeah, we also have some other numbers. Since the 12th of January, the new spot Bitcoin ETFs have amassed, it says a notable amount of Bitcoin. Stop it. You can stop the lies right there. It's more than notable. The 10 funds have gathered 548,556 Bitcoin, valued at 36 billion US dollars. Additionally, don't forget about Grayscale, as they now have their own ETF. They currently have, Grayscale alone has 288,954 Bitcoin. Did you get that number? So you know how like Grayscale still has like a 1.5% fee? For those of you who've been missing the incredibly insanable news, we've been getting nonstop news that major banks around the world, because people have been looking into their US SEC filings, these major banks, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, what are they called? The Bank of Montreal. There's, I think, one or two German banks, et cetera. They've also been buying up these ETFs as well. And the majority of them, if not all the banks, are actually also holding Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF as well. Now, I can't do math super quick. Actually, okay, thank goodness. Phew, it is on the screen. It says collectively, these 11 ETFs are holding, you ready for the number? 837,511 Bitcoin. 128 days. This means by the time we get to December, they're probably going to have around 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million Bitcoin. By the time we get to next summer, 2025, these companies, just the ones on the screen, are going to probably have 2 to 2.5 million Bitcoin. Remember when I was saying the news that we had before, that the cycles might be over? That's it. If you have seen with your own eyeballs that these companies in a year and a half accumulated 2 million or 2.5 million Bitcoin, any Bitcoin sold onto the market needs to be purchased back immediately, because Grayscale, Fidelity, and BlackRock are going to buy it. And that's still, the narrative is back once again. How funny. The narrative is just constantly circling around these ETF holders. This isn't even, we know that other companies are constantly buying Bitcoin, like spot, on market, into their wallets directly, every single day. They're just simply not obligated by the US SEC to actually have to announce these numbers. We've seen it happening before. We know that there are multiple countries around the world who are also mining Bitcoin. I know you get it. It's just a very stressful time in life for me where we are witnessing something insane. And the fact that maybe it's like a personal thing. Maybe it's because so many people who I know, when I tell them, I mean anything, I could say the letters BTC, they get up and walk away. It's this really weird like disconnect from reality where I'm noticing that people they know what inflation is, but they don't understand it. People know what Bitcoin is, but they aren't really getting the numbers. This is like a couple of, I want to say 2, 3, 4 years ago. There were a couple of people, I doubt that they're watching. Hello if you are. Anyway, where I was telling them what was going to happen with Bitcoin and to Bitcoin's price. And I mean, when I say I was ignored, I was a wall. I was almost invisible. Couldn't even see that I was there. And then at some point they kind of got it. And then they started telling me Bitcoin news, and I was like, I'm the one who showed you all of this. I used to send people articles. This is years ago. I used to send people articles like through screenshots and stuff of all the news we were getting. So like, all the stuff that we go over here, a lot of my friends, I was like, people need to know about this. I don't do this anymore because, if you aren't here at the party now, I can't help you. And I used to send these things to them, and people used to send me back like the thumbs up emoji. And that was it. There was nothing there. And I was like, okay, cool. So, you don't really care about your future and or making money. It's just something, that you just don't really, you're not actually there. So, yeah. Major news. These 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs collectively represent $56 billion and 4.25% of the current circulating supply of 19.7 million Bitcoin have been mined already. Excluding Grayscale, BlackRock holds 276,000. I don't have to say all the numbers. It's way too many numbers. Number. And it keeps going. They keep talking about the other ones as well. Beyond the US spot Bitcoin ETFs, the 3 spot Bitcoin ETFs from Hong Kong have collectively acquired 4,063 Bitcoin as well. The rumors are still abuzz as to people from mainland China being able to acquire these ETFs. Apparently, it is still a very popular news story that this is going to happen. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say. Like I think I've exhausted my brain at this point, but understand where we are going. I know a lot of you get it, and I keep saying it every other video, but mathematically, there's 10 people who still haven't gotten it. I would suggest, if you are listening to me every day, watching videos, and you still haven't gotten it, have a chat with your portfolio to see if Bitcoin is right for you. Just because there's no way that we can have this continuous level of accumulation and not hit $1 million Bitcoin in the next couple of years. And I guess, now it makes even more sense as to why all these people were like, yeah, we're probably going to get there in like 5.5 years. For those of you who missed it, even Jack Dorsey recently was like, I think he said 2029 is his time frame for $1 million Bitcoin. So, yeah, that's the ETFs just within the US of A are holding currently 837,511 Bitcoin in 128 days. So in 128 days, we'll probably have this conversation again, but I think it'll be even more dramatic then. That's the ETF news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in extremely popular news, but slightly confusing, apparently a lot of Bitcoin developers are talking about what Bitcoin needs in order to have a successful bull run, for the price to go up, to have a Bitcoin bull market unlike anything that we've ever seen before. It's a little bit confusing because we don't really need much, and I feel like the answers have come from a very, smart space. If that makes any sense. You know how like things can get done quite simply, but then you have a friend, when you explain something to them, they make it far more convoluted than it actually has to be. That's kind of what's currently going on. So apparently, a bunch of Bitcoin developers have thrown their Satoshis into a hat to talk about what they think will cause, like a massive, dramatic $200,000 in 2024 Bitcoin price pump. And so from what we are hearing, from what I'm reading, from what has been going on, apparently some of them thought it would be layer 2 solutions, basically letting the world know that there were extra ways to be able to deal in Bitcoin. We also have the Lightning Network. A lot of people, and I don't count these out. I think we're on the precipice of greatness. And when something doesn't work out immediately in that second, people in the cryptocurrency space really discount stuff very fast. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a common trait amongst crypto investors. A couple of the developers said that they assumed or thought that Bitcoin having smart contracts would have done the thing. Remember I told you a number of years ago, and I've said it multiple times, I don't think that Bitcoin needs everything to be popular. It can be completely popular the way that it is. But adding on smart contracts to Bitcoin has always been touted as a way, and I'm winking here, you can't see me, as essentially a way to push Ethereum to the side and make Bitcoin far more popular than Ethereum. The idea of ordinals on Bitcoin as well. It even says in the article, then there was Bitcoin ordinals, which made a momentary difference. You have to understand that these things, first of all, ordinals took off. Ordinals, like the NFTs on Bitcoin, were actually like the most transferred and moved thing on the Bitcoin blockchain for like a year. It's not about like a momentary difference, but people expect if you buy a new pair of shoes, you're going to be the most popular person in school for the next 3.5 years. Like there's, we go in waves. Bitcoin is going to be around for another 100 plus years. Think of that. The idea that we can make and put things onto Bitcoin and they will be there forever, they're etched in the blockchain for essentially eternity, is quite big. But in the short-minded time frame that most people have, it also goes for investments as well. It's why when you see that Bitcoin goes down by 2%, it's like a huge amount of negative sentiment because people, I guess Bitcoin's going to keep falling. It's like, have you not seen from whence we've came? Where we are in the market, how far we've come over 15 years. The lack of faith is just so annoying. No, we are going to have people in 20, 30 years who are going to, people are putting artwork on Bitcoin right now, and it's there forever. Even the idea of the, what's the other one's called? Runes. Runes, for those of you who missed it, are basically like you can make your own coins on top of Bitcoin. So if you have a coin that you want to make or a new project, you literally put a rune on it. You do it on runes and you literally make a new coin. When Ethereum's first ideas, the first couple of years of them saying, hey, you can put other coins on top of us, it wasn't a thing. People weren't really thinking about it until people realized that it worked. And then those coins became popular. And the people created other coins. You may have 900 coins made. 10 of them become popular. And this is how we get Polygon and Algorand and all these other things. So it does take time, but people kind of have this quick fix idea about Bitcoin, thinking that anything really quick is going to completely set the market ablaze, and we'll never be able to look back because the price kind of continues rising. And then also one of the other things that they have is the idea of more programmability. And that's why I said, I feel like it's coming from a very smart place. I don't want to, the term wouldn't be nerd anymore. I think the term is millionaire or billionaire because Do you remember? I remember this. Remember growing up, and every time, I mean, it was on every TV show and on TGIF and all these other things. Every time that there was a nerd somewhere, they were like, oh my gosh, look at that nerd. And these people are wealthy now, so you know. But I feel like it comes from that same kind of place where the idea of people needing to do more on Bitcoin is like touted as the solution. And it's like, I don't think that many people really, now tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think many people really care about excessive amounts of programmability on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm sure there's 10 people out there, hello to you 10, who want more things on top of Bitcoin so that it has more functionality, maybe more transactions per second, and or other things similar to other blockchains to make it more competitive. Bitcoin is the competition. Bitcoin is its own competitor. It is the market. I remember that discussion a number of years ago where I told people, oh gosh, how time flies. And I was telling people, I was like, yeah, no, Bitcoin is the market. And people were like, no, it's not. But give it. And I was like, no, if Bitcoin drops, the whole market drops. And, look at where we are now. So I'm not sure how this discussion started from Bitcoin developers who were trying to find a solution to make Bitcoin's price go higher. But apparently they think it's more programming on top of Bitcoin. Maybe I'm just a little bit old fashioned because I'm almost certain that it's just supply and demand. Yeah, I'm almost certain that Bitcoin's price will do extremely well just based off of the, remember the news story that we just had of the almost million Bitcoin lost from the market in 128 days. Yeah, so I mean, it won't hurt. The more things we have on top of Bitcoin, the more people who will use it. And I mean, can we just give it some time? The guy who created coins on top of Bitcoin, it was created I think 10 weeks ago. That's not a joke. It literally was just released. We even had a news story. I think once again, the majority of transactions that were happening on top of Bitcoin were new coins that were being made. The market fell a bit, and then everyone's like, oh, well, I guess it's a failure. And it's like, what planet is everyone else living on that people just lose faith in everything so quickly? So yeah, that's the Bitcoin developers suggesting what will bring us into the bull marketer. I was content with the news of people buying it and not selling it, and there not being a lot of it, and the halving happening, and then more companies buying it, and the institutions, and remember the world banks who are also buying Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the story that got me. Okie dokie. I think that's gonna do it for this video. That's bright. Wow. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.